late 80s, they were everywhere. Comics, cartoons, action figures. Four brothers who lived in the sewers, ate pizza, and somehow became the biggest heroes on Earth. But by 1991, the Turtles weren't just Saturday morning icons anymore. They were storming arcades, and Konami was about to drop something that would change beat-em-ups forever. It was loud. It was chaotic. It was the New York streets, time portals, and shell-shock bosses all at once. And after the punishing NES titles that broke controllers and tested friendships, this one felt different. This is the story of the game that defined the franchise, turned arcades into hangouts, and proved that Heroes in a Half Shell were more than just a Saturday morning fad. This is the story of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles IV, Turtles in Time, the game that stood the test of time.
Nice night.
Pizza Dude's got 30 seconds.
Why did this game resonate so deeply with fans? Why do current beat-em-ups clone its style? And why are we still talking about it decades later? Let's travel through time, literally, to find out.
Big Apple, 3 a.m.
TMNT had already seen several video game adaptations. The NES titles were legendary and punishing. The first NES Ninja Turtles games were notorious for their difficulty. One-hit kills, glitchy walls, and limited continues. Many kids remember cracking controllers after being KO'd by Rocksteady or Shredder. Then came Turtles in Time for the arcade, developed by Konami in 1991. So how did this game improve on its predecessors, and what challenges did the developers face? Konami wanted a game that was accessible, competitive, and visually stunning. They were under pressure. The arcade market was competitive. TMNT fans were demanding, and technology was moving fast. Development controversies included limited memory in the arcade hardware, forcing creative sprite work, animators struggling to capture the personalities of each individual turtle, and pressure to synchronize the game with the cartoon's popularity and toy line. The team experimented with 4-player co-op, dynamic bosses, and the now famous time surfing mechanic, which became a hallmark of the game. The arcade version was a hit. Crowds gathered to watch players team up to take on the Foot Clan. Kids and teens bonded over the co-op playstyle, the pizza power, and shared strategies. And Konami, they wanted to bring the game home. But fans worried that the home version wouldn't capture the magic. They feared slower action and less fluid controls due to the SNES's hardware limitations.
Can you believe this guy?
There was concern that the SNES's graphics would be noticeably inferior to the arcade version. There was worry over multiplayer limits. The arcade supported up to 4 simultaneous players, while the SNES was only 2 players. Even if you had the rare multi-tap adapter, it was still coded to be just 2 players. So did it work? Did the SNES version live up to expectations? Absolutely, but simplified and expanded on. The SNES version became a staple. The graphics definitely got downgraded, but we got a boss rearrangement and other additions. The Rat King was added as the end boss to the sewer surfing level. The arcade version didn't have any boss there. Slash replaces Cement Man as the boss in the prehistoric level in the SNES version. Toka and Razor were the bosses in the pirate ship level on the arcade version. In the SNES version, they were moved to a different stage. Bebop and Rocksteady were added as the bosses in the pirate ship level in the SNES version. They're not even in the arcade version. The sound took a hit, but it wasn't terrible. In return, we got the ability to intentionally throw Foot Clan soldiers towards the screen, where in the arcade version, this was random. We also got that dope Technodrome Let's Kick Shell stage, where Toka and Razor were added as bosses there.
Masters, they have fun!
And we also got a first-person Mode 7 boss fight with Shredder in his mech. And this is where the intentionally throwing foot soldiers comes in. You grab the soldiers, throw them to him where he's there in his battle suit or his mech. His stage was completely unique. The game bridged generations, giving kids who couldn't physically or financially reach the arcade a chance to play. Quarters were precious to us kids back then. Now kids could enjoy the Turtles' adventures from their own home, often staying up late playing with siblings, cousins, or friends. By the early 90s, TMNT wasn't just a couple of games, it was a full-blown franchise. Comics had introduced darker storylines and morally complex villains. The cartoons brought humor, personality, and catchphrases. Movies, starting in 1990, brought the Turtles into theaters, earning critical and financial success.
And I mean no anchovies. You put anchovies on this thing and you're in big trouble, okay?
Turtles in Time sat at the intersection of all this media. It captured the fun of the cartoons, the grit of the comics, and the excitement of the movies. But could a video game hold its own in such a saturated franchise? Not only did it hold its own, it became a benchmark for beat-em-up games. It inspired other titles, it set new standards for co-op gameplay, and influenced countless developers. Let's not forget the NES games. Many of them were infamously hard. The NES games taught patience through punishment. Turtles in Time taught teamwork through cooperation. Both had their place, but both mirrored a deeper truth. Endurance builds character. Paul wrote, "We rejoice in our sufferings, knowing that suffering produces endurance, and endurance produces character, and character produces hope." Strange as it sounds, even Ninja Turtles games gave us a glimpse of that journey. Frustration, endurance, and finally hope. So how did this evolution change the player experience? It allowed younger audiences to bond with the Turtles without constant frustration, turning the game into an experience rather than just a test of reflexes. No beloved game is without controversy. Some fans criticized the SNES port for removing arcade features. Others argued that the difficulty was still too high for younger players. Others argued about representation. Like, yeah, the Turtles games were fun, but why was the world New York, New York? I mean, this was also coming from people who weren't participating in the TMNT franchise like we were. If you picked up a comic, New York, New York. You watched a cartoon, New York, New York. You watched a movie, New York, New York. So yeah, away with you. And you know what? Despite these complaints, the community embraced the game. Arcades remained packed, the SNES version flew off shelves, and fans bonded over shared strategies, Easter eggs, and just the fun of the game. Now, did these minor controversies hurt the legacy of Turtles in Time? Not at all. They only added to the game's mystique, and the SNES version is considered one of the best beat-em-ups of all time. But the most important impact of Turtles in Time was personal. When kids huddled around an arcade cabinet or teamed up on the SNES, they were learning something bigger than combos or boss patterns. They were learning the value of togetherness. Jesus said, "For where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, there am I among them." And while this wasn't church, it was fellowship, it was friendship, it was learning to carry each other through challenges, something every generation craves. The Turtles had started as a comic book, became a global franchise, and ultimately helped people connect.
If it looks foolish to you, you don't know how to recognize a $350 million a year industry when you see it.
Could a video game have that kind of societal impact? Absolutely. Turtles in Time is a prime example of how video games can influence real-life relationships and personal growth. The Turtles didn't stop there. They returned with Tournament Fighters and Hyperstone Heist. Konami was remixing their hits for Sega due to Nintendo's policy blocking cross-platform releases. After years, Sega fans finally got their own Ninja Turtles game, along with many others. The franchise continues today in comics, cartoons, and even live-action movies. Turtles in Time remains a classic for fans, a nostalgic reminder of a time when 4 heroes in a half-shell captured hearts worldwide. How did a comic about mutated turtles in a sewer become a cultural juggernaut? Because at every step, the Turtles were more than their fights. They were about family, friendship, and fun. And Turtles in Time captured that essence perfectly. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles IV, Turtles in Time wasn't just a game. It was a bridge between comics, cartoons, movies, and life itself. It challenged us. It bonded us. It made us laugh and sometimes scream at the screen in frustration. At their core, like I said, the Turtles were about family and friendship, and Christ gave us the greatest commandment in the same spirit: love one another. You must love one another as I have loved you. Whether in arcades or on couches or in real life, that truth still stands. Heroes aren't defined by masks or shells. They're defined by love, the kind we give, the kind we choose, the kind that changes everything. And in the end, that's all the power any of us will ever have. I'm Cello, and I've been hosting esports tournaments since before it was called esports. If you were feeling this video, give me a like, share, subscribe. All that stuff is a small thing for you, but it's actually really huge for me. Do me a solid, go read your Bible, go play some video games, and go one up your world. Peace.